It says the broadcast is live. My screen says
Saturday night. Time for your weekly dose of pop culture.
With Kathy and Kenny. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. It is
Hey!
Saturday. So it is time for Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture as we come to you every Saturday night. And this Saturday is no excuse. Welcome to those
There
who
you
are. What do you mean there I am?
No, there you are. I'm talking to the people listening in. There you are. Hi, friend. It's good to see you this week again.
Are you well? Are you having a Mr. Rogers moment?
You know what? I was at George's house last night watching Sesame Street. So I'm talking like,
Like who? Big
like
Bird?
I'm on a PBS show.
Bert or Ernie?
Like I'm on a PBS show. Like I'm on a PBS show. Hi, friend. It's good to see you again.
Like you're LeVar Burton and it's like the Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I'm
all
trying
right.
to get that status.
It is all good.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey. Oh, yes. Hello.
Hello.
Awesome.
What's good?
What is good?
Hi.
What can you tell us?
Friend.
Hey, you know what? I know the video didn't come in clear last week. I'm sorry. What are you doing? For a minute, your camera was in the face. It was like really scary.
Like this?
Yeah, it was way a lot of you. Last week it was your birthday. So how was the remainder of your birthday? And are you one of those people? Because I've encountered, especially down here, and when I say down here, I'm in the north, you're in the south, North Carolina, South Jersey. But
you're in the south, I'm in the north.
No, I'm in the north, you're in the south.
No, I'm in the north, you're in the south.
No. North Carolina, South Jersey. North Carolina, North, South Jersey. I'm in the north, you're in the south. You get it? Work with me.
Give yourself the buzzer for that. Give yourself the buzzer for that one. You need to give yourself the buzzer for that one. Please.
But we did spend a lot of time celebrating some of the music from sorry. I'm just giving myself some random.
Yeah. Is that like the public service announcement coming?
I know. It's like I had the wrong sound effects. I thought I was actually bringing up some of the music we played last week, but I think I deleted those. Me and my Stream Deck are not getting along at the moment, so that's why we're having
Apparently not.
But in any case, last week we premiered the video, and I think we put a link in the description. I actually put a link in the description today, only because I noticed, because our father was like, "Oh, he's got 900 views." I'm like, "Oh wow, that's so cool." And when I looked at it today, you had over 1,000 views, which I know you were trying to get it to go viral. You have over 1,000.
I got over 1,000 views.
Yes,
wow.
Yes. So that's one of the. I think that's pretty cool. So
it's amazing what money can do.
I actually, oh God, I hope you didn't pay for views or subscriptions or anything like that, because that is right.
I did. I paid for some views. I did pay for views.
That's not something we joke about. And if you did, that's. I'm going to have to erase the link from our description, because that's not the way you want to do things.
Don't do that.
So Ed, yeah, Ed just watched it again, so he's definitely over 1,000 views. So that's pretty cool. And you want
Thank you, Ed.
authentic views
Thank
because
you.
if you're paying people for views, that's not anything that's going to be sustainable. So I
Yeah, I
definitely
know, I know. But
answer
what you
that.
do is you pay to have it in front of ad stuff. They have it as an ad.
Oh, now if you were paying it, if you were paying for like an ad spot on Facebook, that's different than I thought
Yeah, that's what I
you.
was paying for. I paid for
There,
ad
there
spot.
are there are
No, I paid
people
for an
who.
ad spot.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I paid for an ad spot. I paid for an ad spot.
Okay. So, but Unbroken Spirit, that video is there is a link in our description down below. So while you're down there, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you're a part of our live comments, we definitely bring them up on the screen. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, cousin Lisa. Originally we were talking, and because of the Thanksgiving holiday, we're I think do you want to tell them what we were thinking about doing a topic on? And I don't know. I don't go. Well, Kenny, I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. The thought it was that we were thinking about doing a topic about indigenous people, because of the Thanksgiving holiday. Um, talk about the different things that they might have went through, and basically
Well, at
talk
least in
about
pop
the
culture, because the whole show.
the indigenous
It,
celebrities that are now out there, are the indigenous people who made America great.
mhm.
And we were going
But
to do all
just talking
that,
about,
but
are you okay? Just talking about them in relation to pop culture too. Um,
yes,
but I don't know. I I didn't feel comfortable enough with it, and I just kind of feel like
well,
some of the images, as far as pop culture is concerned, have been so exploitative. I don't know. I just it didn't make me feel good.
yeah,
I don't.
you're absolutely right. In the beginning of, like, as far as pop culture goes, in the beginning of cinema, is where a lot of people first, even me, first exposed to indigenous people, in this country. You got a negative connotation of these people, which you really should not have a negative connotation for. Um, and you got, and even in theater, even in movies and TV, these people weren't even allowed to play themselves. What they did was they got people who were not indigenous, they got people who were white, and they put them in makeup to portray these people. And they were usually the bad guys. They were usually, I was talking to a friend about it. They were usually, hey, Dad, how you doing? They're usually, faceless villains. One of my favorite movies, um, from back in the 40s, is The Outlaw, directed by Howard Hughes. And of course, the big bad guy was, when they were coming, when the tribes were coming after them, and they were just faceless people that they had to get away from. And it always showed how they had destroyed the cabin and burned out this cabin and yada yada yada. But that wasn't always the case. Um, there's a lot of things about history that we don't know about. Just as, I think we mentioned last week, the Western, The Harder They Fall,
Okay.
which
Netflix.
showcased some very talented, black people in Western, in the Wild West, and actually cowboys were what they called the black cowmen, the cowhands. They called them cowboys because, of course, back then they called black men boys. And the white men were called, actually, they weren't called cowboys, they were called cowhands. So there's a
Oh.
big difference there. And, you know,
So again,
and
even
just like back in those
the
times,
terms the terms that we've been embracing as a part of pop culture are already have a built-in kind of bias and negativity as far as referring to like black men as boys,
Yes,
and
exactly.
even, you know, with the whole misconception of, I guess from Christopher Columbus thinking he had landed in India as opposed to this new world. So even, the name Indians, which, I know some teams are changing that names. But I know as far as when you boil down to like high school and college, and even some colleges, I don't know whether everybody's made that switch, because you still see people, with the headdress and, with names that might not be Indian necessarily, but warriors or things like that. So that is still part of our culture, or still part of the language that we use as America. When I think, and even in those times, it's when America gets uh, doesn't live up to its potential, where it's supposed to be this melting pot where we're coming together. We're still kind of parsing people out and showing differences. But I'm sorry, I did have another
Yeah,
thought too. When you were talking about the
yeah.
cowhands and the cowboys, and that they would call them cowboys as opposed to men because most of them were black, and they wanted to kind of keep the, blacks inferior by calling them cowboys. But I guess, that's why the football team kind of sucks anyway, because they're just boys. But anyway, I'm, I thought I'd get that little shade in.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
culture,
definitely.
isn't it?
That low key shade. That low key shade, man. That low key shade. So, and see, here's the thing too. One of my favorite movies of all time, which I didn't get mentioned last week. One of my favorite movies of all time was the
Magnificent Seven.
1960s version of the Magnificent Seven. And when you first meet Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen in that movie, um, they take a guy to the graveyard to get buried in a tombstone. And the thing about it is nobody would bury this guy because he was an indigenous person. And as an quote unquote engine, as they called him in the show, that's what he was. So he wasn't allowed to be buried. And that's when the sales guy, the traveling salesman said, I didn't know he had to be anything but dead to get into Boot Hill. So to get and to get him to Blue Hill, Yul Brenner, I'll drive it. And then Steve McQueen's like, yeah, let me hold that shotgun. And he goes and they drive this, and which is a traumatic scene in the beginning, which makes this movie great. They drive the body up to, and when they get to the top of it, these guys, which we thought were cowboys, were cowhands. These guys stopped them, and of course, Yul Brenner shot one in the hand and shot the other one in the hand, and they said, "Okay, you got it," and they let him go, and they buried the body. But that was a treatment. Um, um, Even in the early movies, you saw the treatment of how these people were treated, because you got to remember when the Pilgrims came over, they would not have survived if it wasn't for the people that were already here.
Mm.
And of
What
course,
they taught them, and
these
uh,
these Europeans brought over diseases and sicknesses with them, and these diseases and sicknesses, they got these people that were already here sick, and obviously gave them blankets of smallpox, and that's how they repaid them for helping them learn how to, hunt, fish, and what exactly to eat in this land. And then they kind of duped them out of a whole bunch of land, and kind of took over the land and everything. Um, but yeah, and this is true. This is what I've been telling my kids from the door. I'm gonna tell my kids the Pilgrims, they were the first, immigrants. They were the first illegal immigrants. Came in here and took over. Can't say nothing about that. We don't like to get political on the show, but facts are facts. Critical race theory all you want to, but hey, we're gonna tell it like it is.
tell it like
But
it
in any
is.
event, we're gonna tell it like it
Uh,
is. But in any event, you have stories. Um, you do have stories that kind of tell a more of a heroic picture of these people, kind of like Last of the Mohicans. Um, because
but
the Last of the
does
Mohicans
it
wasn't
really
really
tell
about the
their
guy.
story? but does it really tell their story when other people are trying to tell the story? Don't shouldn't those stories be told in their own voices?
Oh no, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct.
Because I think,
But this is, but in pop culture, this is what we have to go by.
mm.
This is what
But
to go
why?
by. And a lot
Why
of
should
times, I'm sure, I'm sure, I'm sure there are some stories told by their own people, that are told by their own people, that we need to put more into the spotlight and need to be seen more. I'm sure there are their own stories that need to be seen more. We just don't. There's just not a lot of access as far as pop culture to those stories as it should
so?
be.
And I know we spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time on this show talking about pop culture, and but I'm just wondering if we need to, um, you know, think about how do we change pop culture? How do we change? How do we make a change? Like, I mean, we're the viewers, we're the consumers. We take this stuff in, so and it's kind of weird because I think we do it in some ways because if you think about it, when they made the Lone Ranger movie with Johnny Depp in that role, like again casting someone who was not a Native American or indigenous
Well, no,
person,
I think
and
Johnny Depp is supposed to be a part native, though. In actuality,
in real life, or is that just something the PR
in real
department
life, he's supposed to be.
says so that they don't get
Yeah,
shade thrown
could
on them
be.
so that they can
Yeah,
still release their
it very
movie?
well could be.
I'm just saying. I could be right. I
Yeah,
could
it
be
could be.
wrong. I'm
You could be
usually
right.
right.
You could be right. I could be right. I may be crazy.
Okay. Uh, yeah. There's the buzzard. I found it. You started singing, and I'm like, oh, where's the buzzer? But
Just a little Billy Joel. Nothing wrong with it.
no, it does soothe the soul. A little Billy Joel. Anyway, I just made that up, and I'm not a spoken word artist. Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Sorry.
gonna give you accolades because I'm gonna use that in a spoken word piece, like Billy Joel that soothes the soul. I'm gonna use that in a spoken word piece.
All right. So I want my credit. I want my credit. I give me my 40 acres and a mule, or just two acres and anyway. But so that was our original premise, and to talk about some of those actors and actresses, and I don't know. I just and it's not that I didn't want to give it due, but I thought it more than just uh uh oh, let's be funny, comical pop culture take on it. I just thought that it was a deeper topic to really, think about how pop culture kind of influences how we feel about people. And I don't know. I think even being an African American, female, you a male as well, I'm sure you have run across people in your life who have had a preconceived notion of how you would act or what you might say because of what's been projected in pop culture. And I think that happens too to indigenous people. And I kind of feel like it's been so negative for so long. How do we change it? And like I say, one way to change it is that we as people who patronize movies and theater and art and consumers of pop culture, uh, probably shouldn't give our money, attention, and ear to those things that are just, not painting people in a fair picture, or at least spend our money when we see that, studios are kind of making the effort to show a more representative America.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well,
I'm and I can see nobody's in the comment. They're like, "Oh, Kathy's on her soapbox. Oh, she's in her little
no.
world."
Well,
So
no, I agree. I agree with that. There should be a more accurate and tighter representation of of the cultures. It's kind of like, and I know you say I always bring back the comic books and things like that, but
Oh wait, you know
in the
what?
'40s,
We should listen. Well, I'll let you get back to your thought. But you know what? We should run like a clock on the side of the show, just like a running clock, to see how long it's going to take in the show before you mention a comic book or before Ed makes a comment in the comments down below about Die Hard and the fact that it's not a Christmas movie. I'm just saying. I thank you.
every time if you're home watching us or whatever or listening to us, then every time something like that happens, you're allowed to take a shot, take a drink, whatever you do, you know, put a
Every time
quarter
a
in the
comic book
box or
is
whatever.
mentioned or
But no.
Die
In any event, it's kind of like you know, uh, comic books in the '40s, in the '50s, and '60s, even in the '60s, even the beginning of the '70s. A lot of the writers, a lot of comic book writers of the mainstream books were white and did not know how to write black characters. So when you got black characters, you got stereotypical characters. In the '40s, in the Shazam comic book, there was a character named Steamboat who was very he was a black character that was very extremely he was so stereotypical that some school kids, I believe in New York, black and white, wrote to the comic distributor to say, get rid of this character. That's how these kids wrote to get rid of this character and got this character off. That's how insulting this character was as a black character. And because and basically, white writers didn't know how to write black characters, even into the '60s, where you had characters with a chip on his shoulder, and this big afro and a chip on his shoulder, and mad at the white man, and that wasn't how it was because they didn't know how else to write a black character. All black characters that became superheroes grew up poor with no father or something like that or whatever, but they wrote the stereotypical line. And I believe with all cultures that they don't understand, whether it be Asian, whether it be indigenous, no matter what it is, they're written very stereotypically. And as pop culture, I think we need to change the narrative of that and not endorse stereotypical acting or writing, and not and kind of encourage people of African American descent, Asian descent, native descent, whatever, to write their own stories and get their stories out there more. I think as a people, we need to encourage other people getting their stories out there more in pop culture
But
in order to help that. Now, as a person who has a label, I've already laid the law down to a lot of my artists and any artists coming in. We're not doing booty shaking, bottle popping, throwing money at women type music. We're not doing that. We're not doing this atypical thing where you think black people, all we do is have a party, pop bottles, and throw money with girls like twerking and everything. We're not doing that at all. If I have rappers on my label, we're doing conscious rap that's actually going to educate or make you think. We're not doing, oh yeah, I'm great and I'm great with all the women and I have all the money and I'm good with all the men in bed and I have all the money. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And that's what more people do, and kind of put that art out there, whether it be movie, books, TV, whatever, etc. In pop culture, we need to see more cultures express themselves. But that's my soapbox.
and a good one as well. And it's nice to have like a platform with your Words Out productions and your spoken word label that's coming out. And I don't know whether I have a Words Out link in the description. I can always go back and add one because we know you have a Facebook page, and I'm waiting to see what. Have you guys launched the website yet?
Now, the website is out there. I have to
Okay.
still work on it, but
All
I have to
right.
do some things
So,
to get
but
the website
before we,
working. So the website's out
yeah,
there.
before we link, but folks
I
can
like all
DM you.
comment.
Folks can DM you if they need more information on Words Out, because I know part of what you're
Oh
doing
yeah,
with that label is having t-shirts available, because that's helping him get Words Out Productions. They have an album that they are finishing up and editing, and we'll have information on where you can get that on all the music streams, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your music. But speaking of support, of usually about this part of the show, midway through the show, I just make the plea to thank you for coming out, hanging out on a Saturday night with us. Kathy and Kenny explain pop culture. We take the time to talk music, to talk movies. Tonight, we just had some random thoughts we were going to share as we talk about the impact of pop culture on Indigenous people and just other random topics. But we thank you guys for hanging out, especially our regulars, Cousin Lisa, Ed, Audrey, Dion. We appreciate you guys so much. Steve usually is in the house. Hey, Archer will stop by. But in any case, we appreciate you stopping by, hanging out. Please consider giving us a like if you're watching us on YouTube, doing a subscribe. That would help. There's also a link in the description for our Buy Me a Coffee page. Anything you can do to support us there helps support us to keep streaming to you every week, having fun, talking pop culture in all its very forms. And also me having to endure every single week at least 1, 2, or 10 comments coming from folks like Ed about this movie that is not a Christmas movie. So even if I put this comment on the
Well,
screen,
no.
yeah, I'm only
It's
putting these comments
Audrey's
on.
comment.
What? I put it up. You can't say I didn't.
No,
You
no,
didn't
no,
see it.
no. I was
You
keep
need to go
it
back
up for a
and
minute.
rewatch
No,
it.
keep it up for a minute. You can't just flash
I
it.
put it up.
That's not fair to Audrey.
Put it
No,
up.
put it up again. Audrey says Die Hard could be considered a Thanksgiving movie. Audrey,
What?
I want to hear your reasoning
That's because the people
because
who
I'm on
like it are
board. Audrey,
turkeys. The people who
no, no,
think it's a
no.
Christmas movie are
Audrey,
turkeys.
I am on board. I am on board with you thinking that this is a Thanksgiving movie. I have your back totally. I just need to hear your reasoning for the fact that it is a Thanksgiving movie. Whatever you say, I'm going to agree with.
There is no
Oh,
way.
and put the reason right there. And put
And
one reason right there. And put I'm very thankful for it. Thanksgiving movie. There you go. There you go.
y'all are pushing the limits. That's
There you
just
go.
pushing the limits.
Now it's
Oh,
a Thanksgiving movie.
we get closer
You know
to the
why? You know why? You know why? You know what? You know another reason why Die Hard is a Thanksgiving movie? Because when you go from
I
Thanksgiving
opened the
to Christmas,
proverbial can of worms.
that is well. Hold on a second. When you get to Thanksgiving to Christmas, that's the season. So you start showing seasonal movies. And since Die Hard is a Christmas movie, you start showing it during the season of the holidays, which is Thanksgiving to Christmas. So yes, Audrey is right. Die Hard is a Thanksgiving movie.
I don't know how this goes off the rails. I just don't know.
It does, but Die Hard takes place almost entirely in Nakatomi flag. Nakatomi is obviously a Japanese word. It's translated as the movie you are watching. Yes, it is a Thanksgiving movie. Yes, okay. I'm on board.
You know, I
I don't even have to
hesitate.
fact check that. I'm on board.
I hesitate to share this, but I saw it on a
Cheers.
friend's. I saw it on a friend's Facebook page. My friend Rob Valls. So I like I said, I'm hesitant to share it, but
No, we have another
interest
comment. Who's that?
of being trans.
Silver Lining Home Place, but but you know what? They air year around because you know what? They air Christmas in July movies.
Oh gosh.
Christmas in
Oh,
July movies.
Jay, thank you. My homegirl Jay says Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie because it doesn't have a great
Hold
song.
on. Time
So,
out, Jay, I got you.
so
I
that's
got
a
you covered
comment you can
twice, Jay.
leave in.
I got wait. Hold on, Jay. Oh, Jay, I got you covered twice. Number one, when he's driving up to the plaza and he's in the car with Argyle. Argyle says, "I'm putting on some Christmas music." Next thing you know, they run to see Christmas in the House, and everybody loves that scene with Christmas in the House. Christmas House, yeah. It was, and then at the end, D.
That's what
Martin
you
is
trying to
singing "Let
say.
It Snow."
Mm.
D. Martin is singing "Let It Snow." So Jay, I got to take you out.
I'm gonna just leave
Let It
Jay's
Snow.
comment up and the heck with all these other comments. But here's something
Audrey
I
says I
found.
can cover it.
What?
Audrey says I can cover
I
it.
concur with that. Okay,
And
all right.
Dion is a nice dude. Jingle bells and Christmas house and Ed. I'm
So
not buying it.
thank you, Jay. I'm getting some support. See,
We need to not put Jay. We did not put Jay's comment on this. Die Hard. Jay, the general consensus
See,
on
you know what?
everyone who listens to the show, besides Kathy, is Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Okay. Here's the thing that my brother forgets. I control the production. So basically, what I say is what's on screen. So that's why if I say Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, it's not a Christmas movie. And I'm the only one in my family who really understands this and knows this. Yeah, the others, my parents, my brother, um, they don't get it. But in any case, action movie all day long. Christmas movie, not so much. But we digress, and it happens every single time. I wanted to share my screen because I saw this on a friend's Facebook page, and I just thought it was funny, and it kind of hits where we tend to live on this stream with the whole Die Hard debate. And I didn't know whether you saw this, Kitty. Yippee Ki Puppet Lovers. It is an all puppet players presents Die Hard, a Christmas story. I don't know what it is.
I love it.
I saw that.
I love it.
Like, what is that about?
Is that a real thing?
I think it is.
I want to see it. If that's a real thing,
they got dates.
If that's a real thing,
yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, do you see it online, or is it someplace you can go to see it? Because that's it.
Evidently, if you live in Phoenix, online, it's a thing.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona, it's a thing.
Okay. All my pop culture kids. What do you say? Road trip, because we need to see this.
Road trip. So you, Dion, and Audrey, you guys can jump in the car.
I don't know where Audrey is, but me and Ed are right here in South Jersey. So what we'll do is we'll drive down, and I know Dion's towards where you at, Dion, Tennessee. We'll pick up Dion and go to Arizona. Yes. We'll pick up Dion and drive right to Arizona. Audrey, if you want to come, let us know where you are. We'll come around and get you too, and we'll do that.
When I saw that posted, I started to tag you and Ed, and I was like, no. I know they are just going to throw that in my face. But again, an all puppet Die Hard, a Christmas story. I almost
want
to see
that. I need to see that.
That's one of those
come by. Audrey's like road trip. Audrey, where are you? What town? What city? What state are you in? Because we'll come by and get you too. But we'll come. Me and Ed come down, and we'll get you in North Carolina. Then we'll go down and get Dion, and then we'll go right over. Yeah, road trip. We'll take the new van. We'll take the new van. You have a van today. We'll take the new van. Me and Ella drive down North Carolina. We'll hop in a van and we'll go.
I was talking to my brother before we actually went live, because it's been a long day. We kind of had an appointment at the dealer early, and we were getting this vehicle, and actually it's a used vehicle, and it's like a rental car company. But I was telling my brother, I didn't realize, how, I guess, the wheels turn around, because the first car that I had that got me back and forth to college was a Ford Escort that my parents actually purchased for me from like a rental car lot. But at the time, my dad had this mindset of, you know what? She's not going that far. I don't know what he's doing and why he's putting all of his bald head in the camera, but that is just scary. Did you know you were doing that?
I didn't realize.
That was
the whole bald thing. Hey,
where the story was going. I was telling the story about
my bald head is sexy.
Okay, like I said, I get to control the production of the show. So in those moments where we don't need that much Kenny, then we get a break. But in any case, but at the time, I think my mom and my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, they were both with my dad at the car lot, and he was saying, oh, well, she doesn't have to go that far, so she really doesn't need air. It's a small car. You could roll down the windows. And this is stuff I'm not making up. I wish if my dad is still out there, he could probably verify it in the comments. But also, it didn't have power windows, which I know back in the day, a lot of cars didn't have power windows, but by this time they did. And I know if you're old school like me, you remember cranking the window down, rolling the window down. But by the time, and this was what, late 70s, early 80s, yeah, they had power windows. But he was like, oh, it's a small car. You can just reach over and roll the windows down. And
you know how I remember? I remember your car, didn't it?
Okay. We take it for granted, but there's also this thing called power steering, where, when you turn a wheel now, these young people, they don't know. Forget the cell phones and the TikTok. They really had it easy because they don't have to deal with manual gear shifting or steering wheels that aren't power steering. But all this stuff, my dad was like, she doesn't need that. That back then was bells and whistles. So
that was the no power steering was your workout.
Exactly. And I was like, and again, if you're old enough to remember cars with no power steering, you got to shout it out in the comments, because these young whippersnappers, they don't know. But in any case, so basically it was the bare bones. It was a car, and I was thankful to have it, by all means. But it wasn't until my dad had to go, because he was in the reserves, and I think he had to go for a weekend was it Fort Dix? Yeah, Fort Dix. Yeah. And turns out, as fate would have it, because his car wasn't working, or we needed whatever, he had to take my little car, my little no power steering, no power windows, no radio car. You know how I got around with music in that car for the longest time? Because, you know what? He didn't need a radio because he was going to install one. Yeah, he installed it. It worked for a week, and then it stopped working. So I basically used to drive around with a boombox in my car. But
I remember.
Once he had to drive that thing to Fort Dix in the middle of the summer, with no power windows, no power steering, no air conditioning. Oh boy, I don't think he ever made that mistake again as far as car buying. So
Well, I
yeah,
remember. I remember your car. I remember how your car didn't have all that stuff because I remember when I started driving about 2, 3 years later at the end of your college career, and I was in college, and we went down North Carolina, me, you, and your girlfriend, and we had to
oh
take
yeah,
my car
that
that they got me because that had air conditioning in it. So we had
yeah.
to take that
Who
car
wants
to
a
North
car
Carolina in
without
the
air?
summer.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays you couldn't do that. You couldn't buy a car without air conditioning. But yeah, who does that? Uh, my Camaro was manual with no power steering, but my arms looked. And that's the thing. You know what? That's so weird because I mean, and I guess now that I've been driving for what 39 years or whatever, I can't even imagine getting in the car without that power steering. I mean, is that
Yeah,
not the
that's
best thing?
that's that's
I
rough.
said the
That's rough.
windshield wipers, but that no power steering. But Kenny, we shouldn't be talking about cars because, and I know we're kind of off. Well, we didn't really have a topic. It was kind of random tonight, but a certain someone, and I'm not going to point fingers or say names, but he's not on the screen right now. In any case, a certain someone borrowed my car and not the no air condition, no power steering. I
Okay,
think that
okay.
was
So moving on. If you have any other topics that you want to talk to,
like I was saying, homeboy borrowed the car. And not only did he drive it and not put any gas in it as he was so wont to do, but you know, my boy came in, God knows what time, parked the car, went on up to his room, went to sleep. Next day, I get up. I gotta go to work because back then we still had a Strawbridge and Clothier. Okay, anyway, but I get in my car, I turn it, I go to steer, and and it's not power steering, so I don't have to have the big muscles, but I just need to go straight, and I'm steering straight, and my car is going over here. You care to explain? You want to elaborate? Tell us what happened.
Ed put a comment in there. Cars by Gary Newman. That's a great song.
Let's skip the subject on the cars. Well, in any case, despite the kind of
I was
cars I
17.
have,
I was 17
had
years old. Give me a pass. I was 17 years old. Give me a pass.
there is no passes. Are you kidding? I spent all day, you know, telling teenagers that you got to be accountable. Come on, for those crazy things you do.
Ed put
But
a joke.
again,
Ed put a joke in there.
I got to be
Ed put a joke in there
accountable,
at
and
the
I got
end.
to, huh? Okay, what? Okay.
Ed put a joke in at the end because with a few friends here, I'm known for
Oh,
running out of gas. I've run out of gas a few times
okay.
in my younger years. I don't do
I,
that
you know
anymore.
what? I
In my
thought you were
younger
going to take
years,
that
I'm known
to
for
a
running.
vulgar place, so I was about to take you off screen again. But is
No,
that
no,
a
no. What
big
vulgar
thing for
place?
you?
I'm the boy next
Although,
door. What vulgar place?
who
Look
who
at
was
his face.
well, no, because now I'm getting these pictures of you when you post you know how people post their food on Instagram and Facebook, and every time you're at work, back before you were working from home, you would be posting pictures of like tuna fish and baked beans, and I'm thinking that
Oh yeah,
cannot be good
straight
for
fish.
anybody's digestion.
I almost made the party last week, but I was told not to.
Oh gosh, no. Did you cook anything special for Thursday or any kind of special foods?
No, I didn't cook anything. I ate.
You ate? Oh, okay. You just ate.
I
I
didn't
actually
cook.
I helped do some of the cooking, so that was kind of fun.
You
Um,
know what I did do? You know what I did contribute
oh, let me guess.
on my
Sweet potato.
honey whiskey. No, honey whiskey.
Honey whiskey.
That's what I
What's
contribute. That
that?
was my contribute. Honey whiskey. That was my contribution.
I don't know what honey
Now
whiskey is. I've never
it's a
had it.
liquor. It's a honey whiskey. Yeah,
A
honey
honey
whiskey with
whiskey.
ginger ale. That was my contribution. That
Hmm.
was my contribution. I didn't make sweet potatoes either. I didn't make anything. I was
Okay, because I
supposed
know
to make.
usually
I was
your
supposed to.
thing is sweet potatoes.
I know, but I was supposed to make mac and cheese because my mac and cheese is the best ever.
But it's
My
that
mac and
Kraft
cheese
mac
is
and
the
cheese.
bomb.
You
It's
don't
not
do real
Kraft
mac.
mac. I make homemade mac and cheese. Don't be putting it out there. I make Kraft mac and cheese. Don't
I've
be putting it
seen
out
you
there
make
like
Kraft
that.
mac and cheese and act like it's homemade. Because Kraft mac and cheese,
No,
and I
no.
know
I
there's a time and a space for Kraft mac and cheese for you Kraft mac and cheese lovers. I'm not hating on you. They have their place in pop culture. I get it. But the homemade real deal cheese sauce with
I
the
make the
milk and all the
homemade.
ingredients. You know what? I wish
I make the.
you make the homemade.
I have a. I make the homemade. I make a roux. I make a
Now,
homemade season it the way I like it. Boom. That's what I served at my birthday
do
party,
you
and
have
they
a
loved it.
do you have a recipe or because you want to know
Yes.
something? You, whose
What?
is it? Where'd you get your recipe? Because you
I
couldn't
asked
have
you.
gotten it from, you couldn't have gotten it from your mother because I was kind of helping out. Like I was cooking some of the food, like the stuffing and well, the potato
Don't talk
salad I
about your
usually
mother.
make anyway. But I'm going to talk about it because she's not on here anyway. The woman was doing a body block, so I couldn't really see what was going in the mac and cheese. What's that about? How
What's
you
wrong?
going to body block
What's wrong?
somebody? I don't know. And how do you learn? How are you supposed to know? How are you carrying that on for the generations if, you know, secrets are being withheld?
She body blocked
That's
the
all.
next.
She body blocked me on the
So
mac
you
and
don't know what
cheese.
it.
I don't
I
know.
know she does do. I know she does something to her mac and cheese that I don't like. That I don't do to my
Uh-huh.
mac and cheese. Where
Oh,
she
is that
put
the
breadcrumbs on top. I don't
pancake on
put.
the top? Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I
That
don't
gives
put
the
breadcrumbs
mixed
on
with
top
the
of mac and
cheese.
cheese. No,
That gives me a little crunch.
no.
I don't know. I like it.
I will say this
I
one
like.
thing. You know what I know what I do on top of mac and cheese? You know what I do
Mm-hmm.
on top instead of breadcrumbs? I do a heavy
Okay.
layer of Parmesan cheese.
Parmesan. Okay. Like see,
A
and I
heavy
like the
layer
idea
of
of different
Parmesan
cheeses.
cheese on the top. Yeah,
Okay.
I use different cheeses. I usually use mild cheddar, mozzarella, and a heavy layer of Parmesan on top.
Hmm.
And I season my
Interesting.
mac and cheese. I season my cheese sauce.
Now, do you do it? You season the cheese sauce? Well, no, there were some seasonings going in the cheese sauce, but I didn't get to see what they were, and that's just not right. I don't know about you.
Really?
I mean,
That's
the
not
whole
right.
point is you're supposed to be carrying on these
Hold up.
traditions and
Hold up.
sharing them.
Hold on.
Wait, what's Lisa
I
saying?
just
Okay.
we have a
Oh wait,
problem
wait.
here. We have a problem.
Okay, Houston, we got a problem
We got a
because I
problem.
need to
You see
know
the
what
problem I'm seeing?
vegetarian.
Vegetarian turkey cutlets, homemade macaroni and cheese, sweet potatoes, green beans with small red potatoes, and deviled eggs. I'm
Deviled
feeling
egg.
everything on this. I'm feeling everything on
Except
this, but you lost me with the vegetarian turkey cutlets. Vegetarian
so.
turkey cutlets.
So
I
wait, are
was
those
there
turkeys
when you
that
hold
were
on,
only
okay, I
fed?
want to say something, to Lisa. Yeah, I want to say something, to Lisa. I was there when your mother raised you. Your mother ain't raised you to make no vegetarian turkey cutlets. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Vegetarian turkey cutlets, girl. I love you to death, but vegetarian turkey cutlets. You got
I
you got
I
no, don't tell me that. I
vegetarian
saw you
turkey
eat meat
cutlet.
2 summers ago. When we was at Kevin's house for the barbecue. You ate some of that meat there? Because Greg put it down on that meat. Greg put it down on that meat. I know you ate some of that meat there. Ate that meat. I was looking around at everybody else eating the meat. and he tore up. And that barbecue.
Yeah,
You ain't
I
that?
get
You was eating me 2 years ago.
well now. Hey, I can appreciate respect being healthy. I wonder, does that mean the actual turkey is made from like tofu, or is it like because I know I have some of the real meat burgers, which I don't know. I've also done the black bean burgers, but I know there is this a new company, and it actually and see, you were wrong. You're saying she ate the meat. She's saying no, she did not. So there. Um, but no,
I don't know. That's
because I know
suspect. I thought
I
you
do
can
like
eat.
a good veggie burger. So I'm not hating on that.
I am
I'm not.
not eating. Do not give me real meat. Do not give me a veggie burger.
Uh,
I
Anyway,
I
I
will like crawl up and have like a like a yeah. I'll go into shock.
well, I didn't wrap up my story because we kind of got off track, but I wanted to say we did turn the table, and instead of my dad buying me this car without features, today I was able to get them a car. So I'm just thankful that I was able to do that for them, especially since I wanted them to have a car with the backup camera, uh, all for safety, and we needed a vehicle big enough to travel so that when we come up to Jersey, we can all fit into it. So hopefully the caravan should be the thing. So thankful I was able to be able to go to my
Oh,
parents. So
you know
what
what? You know what?
I wanted to tell you too is that while we were in the dealership, because just going through, them lowballing me on the trade in, and I'm like, "Ugh, I mean, really, just they were like half of the Kelly Blue Book, and I was just like, crap. Before I even got home, I was able to sell the car for like at least the Kelly Blue Book value, so I was pretty pleased. But anyway, talking to the guy. I had dealt with at the dealership. And again, it's just enterprise rental store. The guy I had an appointment, his name was Aaron, and I walked into the place and I'm like, "Where's AA Ron?" Because that's what I was supposed to say. Thankfully, the place was in Charlotte, and you know, AA Ron was actually a brother, so he laughed and hopefully got the joke. But where's AA Ron? Jaqueline. Anyway, but Donnie was the guy who was helping. You need to pull yourself together, boy. Come on. We got to show the
Don't play
finish
with
up. We
me.
got like 5 minutes.
Why'd you say your name? Why'd you say what I told you to?
Hey, did you see the other one with the
Oh,
substitute, Mr.
oh,
Nostrum? You got to watch that one too. But
no.
anyway, in any case, but Donnie was the guy who helped us and just did a great job. But it was funny because at one point, um, yeah, I don't know what we were waiting on. I guess I was waiting on hold for the insurance company or whatever, to add an additional car. And he was talking to one of the other sales guys about Spider-Man Far From Home, or no, what's the new one? What's the new Spider-Man?
Oh, the new one. The new one is Far Away. Spider-Man No Way Home.
No, and is that a condition? Is that like? And that's what I knew. There was two questions I had for you because as he was talking to this other sales guy, he was talking about how having Doctor Strange in is going to change the timeline. And then I was like, I jumped all into their conversation because, well, quite frankly, the insurance people had me on hold for too long, and I'm the customer, so it should be all about me anyway. Um, but I'm thinking if the timeline has changed, does that mean Tony Stark or Black Widow could come back? And also, since you're the comic book expert and you would know all this stuff, why does the word home have to be in every Spider-Man title?
Yeah, well, I don't know why the whole word
Go.
home has to be in it, but we're not really.
But isn't it
We're not really. I
Homecoming,
know,
Far
but wait a
From
minute.
Home?
Let me. Yeah, I know. That's just the thing they do. But let me explain something to you.
Why?
And hold on, Lisa, don't worry about what's in my cup. Don't worry about what's in my cup. That's grown folks. Um, But I don't know why they use home and everything. That's just the thing they do. But we're not really time traveling in No Way Home. We're not really time traveling. What they're doing is they're they're creating the multiverse, which means there's different universes with different things happen. So there's the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man universe, there's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe, and there's the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe.
Oh
What they're
wait,
saying is
will
the
they
Tom Holland Spider-Man
converge?
universe is the 616 universe, which is the Marvel universe, which is the Prime Marvel universe, the 616 universe. That's the Prime Marvel universe. So that's they're saying that's Tom Holland universe. When in actuality, a lot of the Marvel Universe movies are based off of are really based off of not so much the main Marvel Universe that everybody grew up with, but the Marvel Ultimate Universe. So what they did was they made the stories from the Marvel Ultimate Universe into the 616, which is the main universe. So you know, we're not really time traveling. What we're doing is going to alternate dimensions. Now, that's not to say that Tony Stark and Black Widow are alive in other dimensions. So there's a possibility.
Okay. So by the
The
same
main reason that
token,
Disney,
T'Challa could be alive in other dimensions, even though that actor is not. Um, they could bring it back with
they
another
could,
actor. If just like if
yeah,
Spider-Man could be these three different actors in these three different dimensions, we can bring back the Black Panther character with another actor. Although I don't know whether there's
yes,
an actor who's going to
yes.
take it, but also any of the characters who've died in the timeline that we most recently know from like the Avengers movies, there's a possibility we'll see those people again.
In another
That's what I
timeline.
wanted to.
No, I'm like,
Okay, so
and to give you a better perspective of to give you the better perspective of what is actually going on, I suggest you go to Disney Plus and watch
okay,
Loki, and
do I
then
have to?
watch
Because I was
the
even
cartoon.
a salesman, Donnie
Loki
said Loki was hard to watch.
Loki is not Loki is awesome. And I would also suggest you watch the cartoon What If, Marvel What If series that's on Disney Plus. And that will explain to you the timeline. And then I would also suggest you go to Netflix and watch Into the Spider-Verse, a cartoon movie Into the Spider-Verse, which would
Okay, all
explain
right,
the different Spider-Man in the universe.
okay. So that's a lot of homework. But oh
That
wait,
is a lot
hold
of
on.
homework, but it's good viewing and it's well worth the watch. The main
Okay,
reason that Disney fought with everything they
uh-huh.
had to get Sony to give up some of the film rights to the Spider-Man character and allow him to come home to the new owners of Marvel. It's a bit of a jab at the Sony every time they put home in the title.
So that's
So
just
and
some
Sony
behind.
does kind of yeah, and Sony does mess up characters because they did a Venom movie, both Venom. I didn't see the second one. The first one stunk. I'm not going to see the second one until it comes on cable. And the Morbius movie that they got coming out, which is a Spider-Man villain, I'm not going. I'm going to wait till that comes out on TV so to watch that
By the
because
way, and I don't
Sony.
know if it's true for just DirecTV patrons, but if you have DirecTV, the premium channels are free throughout the Thanksgiving weekend. So, and I don't know if that's true for Spectrum
Wow.
as well, but if you have DirecTV, uh, premium channels like HBO, Showtime, Stars, Cinemax, all those are free this weekend. I guess it's been free since Thursday or Wednesday or whatever. I just discovered it yesterday. So a little bit of what I know, I'm sharing with you. So you have till Sunday night. Although, again, I haven't even been watching that. I've been watching Gilmore the Merrier, like a Gilmore Girls marathon.
Well,
So
I watched all throughout the summer and the winter. I watched all of Smallville. And the next
uh,
thing I had to watch, I usually watch my CW shows and everything else. But the next thing I think I'm going to start tomorrow is the live action anime show, Cowboy Bebop, which is very popular. I'm
Cowboy.
going to try that. And
Is it
Cowboy Bebop.
cowboys or cow hands?
Cowboy Bebop, Cowboy
I,
Bebop.
I was bringing back a earlier reference from the beginning of the show. So
I know you. I know you were, but
well,
yeah,
sure,
yeah,
fine, whatever. Anyway,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
there was something else I had wanted to ask you, and I forgot, but we'll hit it next week. Actually, next week, um, please come hang out with us because it'll be Ed and I talking awesome '80s music. Ed is the host of Ed's awesome '80s music page. I'll have the right name and link in the description next week. But Ed will be joining me, and we will be talking '80s music. And oh, his page is so fun because every time I see it showing up in my feed, it takes me back, way back to the '80s. I just died in your arms tonight. I posted something from the '80s.
Oh,
There was a group called Yaz. Do you remember Yaz or Yaz? If you're in the UK, they were
yeah.
called Yazoo. They had like the ultimate '80s album upstairs at Eric's. So I'm excited because next week Ed and I will be talking. It'll be Kathy and her brother from another mother, Ed Brown. You are going to be working next Saturday.
I'm going to be DJing a function. It's a really big function, and I'm going to be DJing at the open mic portion of the function. I'm
Okay.
going to be representing Words Out Productions at that function. So yeah, I'm going to be DJing a function, and it's a pretty big function, or else I would turn it down. But it's a pretty
Okay.
big function.
All right.
A
Well,
lot of artists in our community here in South Jersey, we try to help each other out. So that's what I'm doing.
so okay. So
I'm going to miss
Kenny
you.
will be
I'm going to miss
absent,
you.
and we
I
will
am
miss
going to
you.
miss
And
you.
we'll send you a link if you're able to. Maybe you can pop on and say hi.
I can
Um,
send me a link and I'll say hi.
and and
But I'm gonna
again,
miss you. I'm gonna miss all of you. Ed, Lisa, Tion, Audrey, Steve, if you get back in, I'm gonna miss all you guys. Everybody comes in. Archer, hey Archer, I'm gonna miss all you guys. Scooby Life, if Scooby Life comes, I'm gonna miss you.
I know I didn't see
I'm
Scooby
starting to
Life
tear up now.
yesterday. Or
I'm
Scooby Life,
starting
if
to
you're
tear
in
up.
the
I'm gonna miss
replay,
everybody.
shout out to Scooby Life. Hey Archer, some of our other friends, check out their channels. Definitely. We thank you for joining us here on this channel. It is Kathy and Kenny
I'm
Explain
so
Pop
gonna
Culture.
miss you next
We
week. I'm gonna miss
we
you.
ha- I, I can't believe this is this. And again, you guys only have to deal with it for an hour on Saturday nights. I've had to live with this for like the last 55 years. Um, Life was
Oh,
really good
before
until
we
my
leave,
parents decided to
I know,
procreate.
I know we're out of town. But before we're out of time. But before we leave,
We're
I have to
out of
tell you one
town.
thing. Yes,
I
I'm
can't
sorry.
believe you didn't
But
like
before we
my
leave, I tell
north
you one
south.
thing. Huh? No, but before we leave, I tell you one thing. Yesterday, I was hanging out with my son George and his wife Jess and Milo, and Milo was watching Sesame Street. Um, and Kathy, I want you to come back on because you know who they didn't know about from Sesame Street's history that I had to introduce them to, and George was
Oh,
cracking up.
tell me. They didn't know
They'd never
Roosevelt
heard of Roosevelt Franklin.
Franklin. Oh my gosh. I don't know if that's available on YouTube, but y'all gotta Google
It is available.
Roosevelt Franklin was the best Sesame Street album.
Roosevelt Franklin,
We knew
ball,
all those songs
elementary
backwards and
school,
forwards.
elementary school.
I can't.
Did somebody call me by my first name first and my second name second?
Oh yes, Roosevelt Franklin.
Did
That
somebody
album was.
call me
Eh,
by my first name first and my second
Before you
name
start
second?
singing, can I rein you in for just a minute, just to
Go
give
ahead.
context?
Go ahead. Bring me in.
Because
Bring me in.
because our show is kind of based in the North and the South, and you're in South Jersey, close to Philadelphia. I just want to connect all the dots. But Roosevelt Franklin was one of the characters created by one of the writers and performers on Sesame Street. His name was Matt Robinson, and Matt Robinson was from the Philadelphia area. So again, it's pop culture. We're dropping pop culture bombs, but is more not more famously known, but some might know him because his daughter is an actress, and she appeared in an 80s actual TV show, 21 Jump Street. And I'm blanking on her name. Oh Lord, where's Ed when you need it?
Holly Robinson. Holly Robinson.
Pete
I don't need
is her
Ed.
name.
I don't need
Holly
Ed. I
Robinson.
know. Holly Robinson Pete
Is the daughter of Matt Robinson, who was the creator of Roosevelt Franklin, who was one of the first Black Muppets, if the only Black Muppet. I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. Some people kind of thought, I don't know. The Cookie Monster was black, but that's a whole Eddie.
and
Get
Holly Robinson ended up marrying Rodney Peete, the Eagles quarterback, and she had a chance with me, but she married Rodney Peete.
All right. So the jokes keep coming. We will be back next week. Kenny will look for you in the comments next week. Ed will be here. We'll be featuring music from the 80s and talking all about that, taking that down memory lane here on Caffey.
I bet hear some Prince on the replay.
Why? Because you would hear that when you're here. So we need to take time to maybe, I think Ed said he wanted to focus on some of the dance music of the 80s. So that's might be where we live, in the dance music.
Prince. That's Prince. Dance music, sexual romance. That's
some
Prince.
of the non-Prince dance music of the 80s.
Look, let's go crazy. You can't dance, so let's go crazy. You don't know how to dance.
Good night. We appreciate you guys so much for hanging out. It's going to be all 80s. Yes, some George Michael.
God bless your soul and keep living.
Thank you.
Enjoy your holiday weekend. Peace.
All right.
Thank you for geeking out with Caffey and Kenny on Caffey and Kenny Explain Pop Culture.